Once-in-a-lifetime cruise, exactly 100 years after the Titanic sank, they stood in the same spot. Although there were no icebergs this time around, they say conditions otherwise were eerily similar. The sound culminating a trip a century in the making. A wreath tossed into cold North Atlantic waters in memory of more than 1,500 people who lost their lives at this exact spot when the Titanic sank.
From Indianapolis to Detroit, Detroit to London.
Tippecanoe County resident John Shively immediately signed up 2 years ago when he learned about the memorial journey. He and his wife Blythe are big fans of one-of-a-kind cruises with a focus on history, accompanied on this trip by John's mother and sister.
When I heard this, it just sounded like something that I had to do.
The Balmoral liner left England from the same berth the Titanic did, with 1,309 passengers aboard, the exact same as the infamous trip a century earlier. A trip the Titanic made in 4 days, the Balmoral made in 6. But at 11:40 p.m. April 14th,
so let us stand silently. Remember why we are here.
A moment of silence in the place where the disaster began exactly 100 years earlier when the Titanic struck an iceberg. Then a memorial service where the names of each of the 1,517 victims were read aloud, leading to this 3 hours later. John says with the same water conditions and clear skies as when the ship sank.
We had a Welsh baritone opera singer who sang "Eternal Father, strong to save," then maybe him, and it almost brought tears to my eyes.
The cruise went on to Halifax, where 150 victims are buried. Then it was on to New York City, the intended destination of the Titanic's maiden voyage.
And that was the event. After the memorial, the event was sailing into New York past the Statue of Liberty.
The 11-day trip cost each passenger about $3,500. But for John, the real treat is being to a place few have ever been, much less at such a meaningful time.
Absolutely worth it. Every penny, every pound. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
One interesting fact, Lafayette is about 60 miles south longitude-wise of where the Titanic sank. Tough to believe. John and Blythe have their next big trip planned. In June, they are heading to Hawaii so they can watch the planet Venus pass in front of the sun. Mitch Daniels